Chosen one, if these words reached you right now, do not treat them as background noise or another video you happen to click. Something deliberate is happening. The same Spirit that has been quietly working in the hidden places of your life is using this moment to confirm what your heart has already begun to sense. The long season of holding on is shifting. You have spent years in a kind of spiritual apprenticeship that few people noticed and fewer understood. While others moved forward in visible ways, you were being shaped in private. Prayers that felt unanswered, doors that stayed shut, relationships that drained rather than nourished. None of it was wasted. Heaven was forming something in you that could not be formed any other way. When the Lord speaks of transition, He is not speaking of an ending in the way the world fears. He is speaking of release. The assignment that required you to carry weight that never belonged to you is being lifted. The chapter marked by survival mode, constant self-protection, and quiet endurance is closing, so a different kind of living can begin. You are being invited to step fully into what was written over your life, long before you ever felt the first stirring of purpose. You know the cost already. Mockery came, rejection came. People questioned the sincerity of your faith and the wisdom of your obedience. Some tried to pull you back toward an earlier version of yourself because the person you were becoming unsettled them. Yet you kept returning to prayer when answers delayed. You kept believing when evidence stayed invisible. You kept walking when every emotion argued for retreat. Haven't noticed? Scripture tells us that the one who remains steadfast under trial receives the crown of life. You did not walk perfectly, but you walked sincerely. Tears fell, yet you did not turn back. That is why the moment you have been sensing is no longer distant. Many feel a holy pull at some point. Far fewer stay faithful when the pull costs comfort, reputation, or belonging. The remnant is small, precisely because the refining is real. You belong to that remnant, not because you are superior, but because you refuse to let the flame die when the winds were strongest. The call now is not into pride. It is into deeper nearness with the one who never left, into a peace that does not shatter under pressure, into a protection that surrounds rather than something you must constantly chase. God is not asking for performance. He is asking for alignment. His sheep hear His voice. They follow. No one snatches them from His hand. That covering is yours. Consider the life of David for a moment. Anointed as a young shepherd, he did not walk straight from the field into the throne room. Years of caves, betrayal by a jealous king, lonely nights, and the slow work of becoming a man after God's own heart came first. The harp that once soothed Saul later became the instrument of worship in hidden places. The same hands that killed a lion and a bear learned to wait. When the time finally arrived, David did not need extra preparation. The wilderness had already done its work. One day, the cave became the palace corridor. Chosen one, your delays were not denials. Closed doors were often protection. God kept you out of sight until the appointed hour. That hour is upon you. Looking back at those who doubted, misunderstood, or minimized your path, understand that their inability to see was part of the filter. Loneliness became the place where dependence on people loosened and dependence on God deepened. The pressure was never meant to crush the life out of you. It was forming something rare. You are leaving behind a way of existing dominated by anxiety and constant striving. You are stepping into a reality where your identity is no longer up for negotiation with other people's opinions. You no longer live as someone trying to prove worth. You live as someone who already knows whose you are. If these words are stirring something real in your spirit right now, comment Amen below. Let it be a simple yes that heaven can see. Now prepare for an unexpected confirmation. It may not arrive as a dramatic vision or public spectacle. It may come as a stranger speaking words too precise to be coincidence. It may arrive as a sudden, unexplainable peace settling over a situation that has kept you breathless for months. It may come through a dream that pulls back the curtain on what God has been arranging behind the scenes. Or it may appear as a door that stayed locked for years, suddenly swinging open. An opportunity you stopped asking for because you assumed the season had passed. God's timing is never late. It is exact. When He opens, no one shuts. In a world that feels enormous and indifferent, it is easy to believe your story is ordinary and your struggles pointless. Chosen ones are not randomly selected. They are set apart by design. Their lives function as training grounds more than mere sequences of events. They keep moving in faith even while doubt knocks. They return to God after falling rather than running from Him. Heaven has been shaping them through every season, often long before they recognize the assignment they carry. Being chosen does not exempt anyone from hardship. Often it intensifies the path. The road narrows, the refining sharpens, the trials feel heavier because the purpose is weightier, yet suffering produces endurance. Endurance produces character, and character produces hope that does not disappoint. The pressure you felt was not rejection. Think of gold in the fire. The heat does not destroy the metal. It removes what is not pure. What remains reflects light more clearly. You are that work in progress. Every betrayal, every crushing season, every moment you thought you would not survive was adding weight and clarity to what God is releasing. This path can feel lonely. Loneliness is not the same as abandonment. Sometimes the crowd is thinned, so His voice can be heard without constant interference. Sometimes separation protects the calling from pride or dilution. When the hidden season ends, what emerges is depth, the kind that cannot be manufactured in comfort. For those who have kept walking the path set before them, the waiting is concluding. God's timing remains precise. When He opens a door, criticism and human opinion lose their power to close it. The invitation is clear. Release the distractions that kept the spirit compressed and step into a higher way of living. Not leaving the earth, but leaving the earthbound mindset that treated anxiety as normal. There are signs the transition is active. First, a holy restlessness. Contentment with the old level has faded. Pretending no longer works. That restlessness is capacity being enlarged. Second, people from the previous season begin to fall away, not always through conflict, but through quiet divergence. God is clearing space for those who can walk further. Do not cling to what He is releasing. Third, confirmations multiply. Scriptures, conversations, songs, and unexpected details begin pointing in the same direction. It is time. When these signs converge, hesitation becomes costly. Divine timing often looks slow until the moment of release. Then what required years of setup unfolds with surprising speed. What felt impossible becomes straightforward. What stayed closed opens with little effort. That acceleration is near. If this message is meeting you in a real place, subscribe and stay connected with this community of people walking the same narrow road. Like the video, so it reaches others who need the same reminder. Here is what many overlook. God is often waiting for an internal shift more than an external circumstance. He waits for the release of control, the end of forcing doors, the quiet surrender of outcomes. When the heart finally yields, movement becomes rapid. One person who found these messages during a dark stretch later shared that depression, financial collapse, and fractured relationships had left them feeling erased. The consistent reminder that they were still seen and still being prepared shifted something. Within a short time of choosing obedience over despair, a job appeared, a relationship began mending, and a peace they had not felt in years settled in. Their story is not exceptional. It is the pattern that appears when chosen ones stop resisting the process and align. What was delayed releases. What was blocked opens. What was taken is restored in forms that matter. The journey is marked by sincerity more than perfection. Purity of heart is the decision to seek God without hidden agendas, to obey when no one is watching or rewarding, and to walk through adversity without letting bitterness take root. A clean heart and a renewed spirit remain the ongoing prayer, because fear, residual doubt, and old resentment must keep yielding so destiny can be fully embraced. God's care for His own is protective and intimate. Like a mother who cannot rest until her child is safe, His compassion is fierce and restoring. It does not mock weakness, it strengthens. When the world turns away, that love remains the constant shelter. The decisive movement is surrender, not as defeat, but as trust. Releasing the need to control outcomes, prove worth, or force timelines opens the door to freedom. Leaving attachment to the temporary does not mean rejecting beauty or love. It means recognizing that the truest home is not limited by what can be measured on earth. What God has prepared exceeds what is being released. Practically, surrender sounds like this in ordinary moments, waking anxious and saying, "I do not see the full path, but I trust your wisdom more than my fear. Being wronged and choosing, I hand this to you. I will not carry bitterness." Watching a desired door close and responding, "If you shut it, it was not mine. Protect me from what I cannot yet see." Each practice strengthens the capacity to trust. Awakening to purpose arrives when the soul is ready. Suddenly, the story looks different. Struggle was not wasted. Delays carried meaning. Pain had direction. The hand of God was present in the twists. This awakening brings responsibility. Life is no longer only about personal comfort. It is about becoming a vessel for something larger. Courage and commitment are required. Sacrifice may appear, yet the depth of fulfillment that follows cannot be matched by surface success. Learning to let go, not quitting, but releasing the grip on control, becomes central. At first, it feels like stepping into open air. Then the realization comes that the ledge was never the true safety. God was. Peace follows. The frantic measuring against other people's timelines and opinions loses its power. This path is also one of recovering true identity. Layers formed by pain, fear, culture, and other people's expectations are peeled back. Hidden insecurities and buried doubts surface so they can be faced in the light. What remains is the purpose God planted. Once you know who you are in Him, the world loses its power to rename you. Many chosen ones felt different long before they had language for faith. Even in childhood, there was a sense of not quite fitting, a quiet knowing that surface-level living would never be enough. For years, that difference felt like a burden. Attempts to blend in failed because the call was already active. What felt like isolation was actually early marking. You were never broken. You were being prepared for a different road. The inability to settle for less kept you seeking more. Compassion grows naturally from this process. Having been wounded, the chosen learn how healing actually works. Compassion is presence without judgment. It offers love where the world offers criticism. It also heals the one who carries it, freeing them from residual shame and allowing them to see the divine imprint in themselves and in others. In this way, they become channels. Think of those who wounded you, the ones who rejected or mocked the faith you carried. For a long time, the pain replayed. Now God is inviting a different response. Release does not mean pretending the hurt never happened. It means refusing to let the past write the future. Forgiveness becomes the final act of freedom, not for their sake alone, but for yours. The season ahead will still require faith. New levels bring new tests, yet the atmosphere is changing. Anxiety is no longer the default. Peace is becoming more familiar than pressure. Identity is settling into something solid. You are not who you were when the refining began. The diamond has emerged. The gold has been purified. The seed that died in the dark is rising. If this word has confirmed what your spirit already knew, comment 777 as a quiet agreement that you are ready for the next chapter. Support this community if you feel led, whether through a simple like, a subscription that keeps you connected, or any other way that helps the message continue, reaching those still in the hidden places. Your participation is part of the larger movement. The waiting has accomplished its work. The transition is not coming someday. It is already underway. Step forward with your whole heart. The one who called you is faithful to complete what he began. You are seen. You are held. You are being released into the purpose that was always yours. Comment 1111 if you receive this as confirmation, and stay close. The best of the journey is still unfolding.